survive Christmas. Silent night, deadly night.
Welcome back to the show. Here we are, Stranger Oddities, back to you. And we're talking about a film called Silent Night, Deadly Night. Came out in 1984. Really cool movie. I recall seeing this in the local video rental stores and stuff on VHS. I always love the cover. I always remember that old box that they used to have there. Videotape covers were just awesome. They really were just some of the coolest things. And I remember it's the chimney with the snow and the Santa Claus. You could tell it was like the Santa Claus suit because it was just the arm coming out of the chimney or going down the chimney. I think that's what it was. And he had the axe, that double-ended axe there. It looked very similar to like a fireman's axe. Not quite like the shining axe, where the shining axe had that pitch on the end of it, but this was like a double-ended axe. It was really cool. Really neat movie. I recall like just all the controversy about it because it was like, they did basically like a Christmas murder type of slasher film, and it stirred up a lot of ruckus. It really did. And oddly enough, it spawned over like I think there's like 5 of them. I know. The funny thing is, actually, in town here, they had a special showing of, I think it was like part 3 or part 4, or one of the two that they actually showed in one of the local theaters down here as a special. It was not too long ago, well, before all this craziness, but they actually did have a special on that. I was playing down there. It was really interesting. But for a while there, the video itself, or the movie itself on videotape, it was also cut. There was some things that they removed from the original cut when it was released and everything. There were some things that they removed. And so when Anchor Bay had got a hold of the thing and released their DVD version of it, they had put the censored scenes back into it. But the scenes that they were able to salvage, which is still cool that they were able to salvage them, but they had to. The quality was off. I guess the quality was taken from source. Maybe cutting room floor kind of footage or something. So that you can, and they actually warn you before you watch it that the cut scenes were actually of different quality because that's all, that's what they had to work with. Which I always find funny about that kind of stuff where they say that or they have to do that, where they have the technology to go back and correct things. If they have the technology to colorize black and white movies, which is, some people, it's like, oh, why would you do that? Or in a sense, it's kind of interesting. I'm not against colorizing black and white, but it is interesting to see. Like I watched a number of Three Stooges that was colorized. And it's kind of interesting to see it. It's not the same as the old black and white stuff, but it's interesting. But anyway, back to the topic is why did they not do that? They could have easily fixed it, I believe. I think that they could have digitally fixed the scenes that were cut out. This kind of goes back also looking back to like the ending of Taxi Driver, one of my favorite films directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Robert De Niro. In the end of that movie, because the culmination of the film and all that was so violent, they had to actually make some adjustments to it. And Scorsese, not wanting to compromise and remove any kind of material from it, they ended up desaturating the color. So if you actually watch that film, when he pulls up in his cabbie right before he confronts Harvey Keitel's character as Sport, the color's off. You almost can't really tell unless you're really looking for it. But I always remember that even when I watched it on VHS, I was like, why does the color seem so strange in the end, or it seems so drowned out, bleached out? That's because they did that to appease the MPAA. So it's very interesting to see that. But and then they talk about it, and they actually, when you hear the interviews of the guys saying that how they wish they could have gone back and found the negatives before they deteriorated and such and such, but yet you have technology that you could have corrected this, you could have made it better, but yet these companies don't do this, and yet they put all this effort into trying to restore things. And that was kind of disappointing when I saw a few different anniversary editions of Taxi Driver come out where they didn't do this, or at least have it an option in the special features to do so and explain why they're doing it and all that, so that the audience that perhaps don't know this little behind the scenes kind of tale, that would help them understand why the color is restored or whatnot. So I don't know, maybe here and there, but Silent Night, Deadly Night, very interesting Christmas horror type movie. Now it's getting a lot of cool attention. A big shout out to Pizwao, because his channel is just so cool. I love his channel. He does a lot of these old school horror type reviews, and it's because of him that I get I use him as a source of information and news to what's coming out. Like the Friday the 13th box set that was by Shout Factory, or Scream Factory, I think it's the same company. That was just absolutely phenomenal. I love it. The fact that they, went back and redid all the old artwork and all that great stuff. I'm just so glad that they, released that. And thanks to him, I found out they were doing so. Silent Night, Deadly Night has gotten almost the same treatment, where they've got these box sets coming out, and of course they redid it recently with Scream Factory has redone it. Here, I'm on Amazon.com right now, and we'll go ahead and look at what the latest on it is, because for a while there, this movie was like out of print. It was, that's what happens too. These things go out of print, they become collectible, and it's kind of a difficult thing to find, and people pay a lot of money for it. During the midst of all this, when it was like, of course, no news story for me. I'm late to the party, and by the time I tried to look for my copy of it, it was long gone, out of print. I ended up finding my DVD copy of it in a used bookstore back when I lived in Hawaii. A used bookstore I used to go to all the time called Kona Bay Books, and I bought mine there for like $10. It was awesome. I found a lot of cool out of print movies there, and that was one of them that I scooped up fast. I mean, I grabbed it, and I just wouldn't let it go. Just make sure I took it. But since then, and that's why they come back around. So Silent Night, Deadly Night has now got another new release. That's and of course it went from that there was actually another Blu-ray release of it, but this is the latest, which is the Scream Factory edition. Here, let me see here. Yeah, Scream Factory edition. And there was actually a Blu-ray edition before this that came out that was just pretty much almost a double dip of the DVD that I already owned, which I actually did buy that Blu-ray, if I recall right. I think I did buy that Blu-ray edition, and that's how I found out. It was pretty much just a double dip of the old original, Anchor Bay copy. So, and then I actually, this was even before that, when I was looking for part 2. This was off of a website called iOffer, and there was somebody on there that was selling bootleg copies of really old out-of-print movies, and this was back when I was trying to find like movies like Psycho Cop and all that, which is like bizarre stuff. Psycho Cop still has not got an official, nice, cool DVD release that's like all good and everything. Part 2 did, but Part 1 did not. But anyway, the Anchor Bay also had a copy. It was a double disc edition. I remember seeing this at Borders some odd years back, and it had Part 1 and Part 2 on there, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Of course, now if you try to look for that, in some cases they're like going for astronomical prices. Now you don't need to worry about that because Scream Factory has released their new versions of this. So, looking at right now, the collector's edition of Silent Night, Deadly Night, the original from Scream Factory, is going for $27.34, and that's kind of common for these Scream Factory releases of these kind of titles. I do feel like eventually they may disappear and go for a lot more money than that. So my curious take on this is to wonder. My wonder is, did they correct those scenes, or is it just the same thing where it's like, is it is it just the same old thing where those cut scenes are just muddy looking and dark and doesn't match up to the quality? I'm just wondering if they fixed that or they didn't fix that or whatnot. It'd be interesting to see. But it's a great movie. Grab some popcorn and just laugh and have a good time with it. Part 1 and Part 2 are really the most popular ones. The other ones later in the series are a little bit different, weird. Although I do like the one called The Toy Maker, which has got Mickey Rooney in it. So this is kind of a funny thing. When this movie, when the first one came out and stuff, I don't know if it was because of the first one or the second one, probably because of the first one. A lot of people, like I said, it stirred up a lot of controversy. A lot of people outraged. Oh my gosh, I can't believe why would they do this, And Mickey Rooney was one of them that says, like, I think his quote was like, "How dare they, you can't touch me, making Christmas into this horror thing, and I can't believe they did this, and this is wretched." And Mickey Rooney saying this, yet he's now later on down the line, he's actually starring in one of them. It's just, go figure, right? Everybody has a price. I don't know. I thought that was just hilarious. I mean, it's like, not only do you want to say this and this about it, but I mean, it's like one thing where if an actor doesn't believe in what they're you got like a anti-gun actor portraying an action hero in it or something like that. That's like, well, whatever. But then you got somebody that literally says, like, "Oh my gosh, like they did this to Santa Claus, and why would you do this?" But then yet I'm gonna go and star one of its sequels. That was always that's just like so classic right there. I mean, that's typical Hollyweird for you, right? So, but yeah, this is a really cool, an opportunity for a lot of these. I really like what Scream Factory's been doing by giving us the opportunity to get a lot of these films back in print. And really good quality ones of this, and I think eventually I'm going to have to pick up this edition of this. Maybe perhaps go down to the local record store, support them, see if it's for sale in there, and buy it from there rather than buying it from Amazon. I usually try to support local, either go to like the Zia Records, which I always go to, or I'll go and shop at Bookman's, which is another local book and video exchange place. They also have VHS tapes, which is really cool for both Bookman's and Zia Records. And also Barnes & Noble. I support Barnes & Noble because it's still a really cool place that's still standing. It survived the test of time so far, with everybody going digital. But, it's something about going into a place like that, the smell of the books and the coffee shop in there. I mean, it's just like, I think people don't realize how much they're going to miss that if they don't support it. So I'm a big advocate of supporting places like that. Of course, living in a town where Borders is like the place to go, and then yet, it went under, unfortunately, and all that. So that's why I kind of really make it a point to support these places. So anyway, this is kind of a neat movie, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Really, old school slasher kind of just cheeseball kind of movies, but it has got its popularity. It's got a very good cult following. It was really cool because just remembering this on back in the VHS era and just seeing these things in the video rental stores and stuff like that back in the good old days. So it was a lot of fun. Thanks for tuning in and listening, and we'll check in with you another time.